Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Amma ba'd. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika an ushrika bika wa ana a'lamu wa astaghfiruka liman a'lamu. In this time of great turmoil and discord and disunity and disharmony that we find the Muslims in general in disharmony and with enmity and hatred for one another. What is most painful about that is the discord and hatred between Ahl Sunnah. And although some people will describe the things going on that especially we see in the West, as this is an English medium forum, what we see going on between the du'at, between the students of knowledge, and even greater than that, between the ulama, we see great fitna. We see great fitna between Ahl Sunnah. And some people will try to describe it and say, no, it's between Salafis and the Mumayyi'een. No, it's between Salafis and the Hizbiyun. No, it's between Salafis and the Haddadiyun. Whatever the case may be. There are real situations like that, of course. But I'm talking about the fitna between Ahl Sunnah that we've been trying to provide medicine for. And the only medicine for that comes in two ways. The first, as the Prophet ﷺ said, مَن يَرِدَ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يَفْقَهُهُ فِي الدِّينِ. Whenever Allah wants good for a person, He gives them understanding of the religion. So the first way is through ilm, through knowledge. To seeking knowledge, gaining better understanding of your religion, so that you can have ilm wa fiqh wa basira, insight and wisdom on how to deal with these affairs. You won't be able to distinguish truth between falsehood. When you hear them talking about Tahir Wyatt, you'll believe everything you hear from the people. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored this man from disbelief to come to Islam, to reach a level of ilm, and to be favored with a place in the haram, in the holiest, one of the holiest places you could be. But some people will make statements, I don't care if he's in the hammam or the haram. This is a real statement that was said and was well known to us in Medina, that someone said this, and this comes from the mouth of someone who's supposed to be a talib al-ilm. This is amazing to me, and a very sinful statement. So with that being said, you won't know the truth when you hear people talk about students of knowledge. I'm just going to name a few names, like students of Yahya al-Hajuri. There are some very strong tulab al-ilm that have come out of Damaj and all these places, Marakas al-Sunnah around the world. But you'll see some people discredit them just because that is their sheikh, but not give the credit of what the individual is pushing out and the level of knowledge. In fact, I would say in the West, some of these people we could say are on the level of mashayikh. Mashayikh in those societies. That's what I mean. I don't mean that they are challenging our mashayikh that we have in Yemen, in Saudi, and wherever it be, Mauritania, Egypt. But however, they have reached a level in their society where they could be considered mashayikh amongst their mujtama, for the people to return back their affairs and seek knowledge. Likewise, from our tulab and coming from Jama Islamiyya, there's many brothers who are unheard of. Their names are not known, that are from Ahl Sunnah, and they're spreading khair. And then those known, like Sheikh Abdurrahman Omeysan and others. With this being said, Ahabatifillah, you will find the people attacking the honor of the du'at, and you'll hear so many arguments and you'll read so many arguments. The only way you're going to be able to distinguish the truth from falsehood is by seeking knowledge. And the second thing that we need to do is also return back to the ulama of Ahl Sunnah for clarity and insight. And that doesn't mean we go to one or two scholars. That means we look to what our ulama, هذا جمع. That is not mufrad. Mufrad is a scholar, alim, or sheikh. But we're talking mashayikh, going back to the mashayikh that are known for the sunnah, that are known for years of the sunnah. And especially the major scholars, that you'll find guidance and a resource of ilm on how to deal with these issues and how they deal with these issues. Because you won't find, subhanAllah, it amazes me, within probably the past 5 to 6 years, even amongst the scholars, how much fitna there is, how many scholars that we used to sit under their beards, and you hear them speaking about other scholars who we used to sit under their beards. And not always are these arguments, and you will only know this by seeking knowledge, based on necessarily sound, strong, factual evidence. Sometimes it's what they heard, and subhanAllah, and I'm going to give you a real story because we're going to open it up here. I was listening to Sheikh Falah Ismail, one of our mashayikh in Kuwait, well known, Ma'ruf bi Sunnah. And he called Sheikh Ubaid, our Sheikh Ma'ruf bi Sunnah in Medina, about some statements Sheikh Ubaid was saying about Sheikh Salim At-Tawil. And he said some very strong statements, Akhwani or whatever, and some other statements. As those people are aware, will know the fitna between some of the mashayikh. And Sheikh Falah was saying that, he called Sheikh Ubaid and he said, what's in it? And then Sheikh Ubaid said, this is, to me, this is what I heard, and I heard it from thiqat. He said, I heard it from people who I trust. Sheikh Falah said, Ana lasta thiqa indak? I'm not trustworthy to you? I'm not trustworthy, Sheikh? He said, Sheikhana, I'm not trustworthy to you? This is what he said. It's recorded. You can find it on YouTube. And if we look into that and we see that a lot of our fitna, or some of our fitna that we experience in the West, is due to people who sometimes have the ear of certain mashayikh, and those mashayikh regard them as trustworthy individuals. And there's nothing wrong with having trustworthy individuals. The problem is when individuals are not necessarily trustworthy, and they lie and deceive, and we have countless of examples of people around the world, even so much so some mashayikh don't even like to take questions from certain societies. This is true. Sheikh Ubaid himself and others did not like to get questions from some of the brothers in Algeria especially. Also, perhaps Moroccans, because of what had become so prominent in those societies of people asking questions of fitna, stirring up fitna, taking a general ruling and putting it on a particular individual. So we're going to get into some of these issues, and as we continue on to study in our various treaties, and I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in these sittings, and we are going to study, this is something very short that I can make some time to go over, and we'll study it over today and tomorrow basically, maybe 2 or 3 days at the most. And it is a statement of Imam Al-Albani. One of our brothers has, the website, Al-Albani site. They have translated this very lovely bit of, we could call it now a treatise. It's called the Salafi Dawah in Disarray. So we're going to study. This is the introduction. And this treatise, it begins, there's a statement on the cover page, and so you can find this on the internet. And it begins, and hopefully this will give us some insight. This is the reason we're taking this, because it's very short. It doesn't involve that we have to do a bunch of research for it, because it's already put together, and we've studied these issues so we can, go into it a little bit. So it doesn't take a lot of preparation, and hopefully we can gain benefit, because it's very relevant. This is another reason, because it's very relevant to the disarray. There's no doubt. The Sufis are laughing at us. The Hizbis are laughing at us. Akhwana Muslimin is laughing at us. Jamaat Tabligh doesn't even consider us. Why? Because not only are we a minority, and that's just the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed, but because we are a minority in discord, in disharmony, in disunity. The Takfiris even laugh at us. And so it's very important. The name of this treatise is the Salafi Dawah in Disarray. And we ask that Allah the Almighty accepts our good and forgives our evil, and blesses us with ilm nafi and rizq tayyib wa amal mutaqabbil, and lets this be something on our scale of hasanat and not be on our scale of sayyat. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and bless us with ikhlas, with thabat. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us to be a source of guidance. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.